Hey guys, what's up? My name is Kenton Chase, and this video is going to be all about self-taped auditions and how to do them and how to get the most out of them. I just want to mention this straight off the bat that self-taped auditions are not something to be dreaded. I am from Toronto, Ontario, and self-tapes have allowed me to audition for huge projects way down in the States, and I think it's very important to get these down and get them really high quality so that you make the best impression on people that normally wouldn't be able to get to see your work. It's a really awesome privilege, and one of the best things about being in this era, that we can just take a video with our cell phones and send it off and be cast in a big budget film. You don't necessarily need to be in LA. Now first you're going to have to work on some of the basics. You're going to need a camera. Cell phones that are iPhone 5S or equivalent above will be completely fine to record with. Make sure it's just stabilized and not held by someone's hand. You can just get one of these things right here. It's from Joby, and honestly you can just flip it open like this. It screws into any tripod like that, and it fits to any phone. So here I have my iPhone 5S. I put it inside here, pull it up, bam. I put it onto my tripod, hit record, and there we go. The next up is lighting. Lighting is decently important. If they can't see you properly, then how are they supposed to cast you? Lighting really changes someone's face, so making sure that there's no hard shadows on your face is best. You can do this with minimal budget. You go by a window during the daytime, during early morning before the sun's actually out and it's reflecting off of the sky and the clouds. You'll really get a nice light like that. There's tons of video tutorials on YouTube on how to actually do a setup. People always think that since acting is a visual medium that the sound doesn't matter, and oh man, does sound ever matter. If your sound is distorted or too loud or really too quiet, no one can really hear you, then what the heck are the people casting supposed to really listen to? They can see you, but they can't hear your voice, which is very important. Now for your background, you're going to want something as neutral as possible. I just have a blue sheet hung up behind me here. That's what I use for my videos, that's what I use for my self-tapes, and that's really all you need. You might have to record at night like I do when everyone else is asleep and not making noise, or you might have to do it early in the morning, vice versa. Then you're going to want to make sure you're in focus and your framing is right. So kind of what I have right here for my videos is pretty much what I use for my self-tapes. This kind of frame with this much headroom, not too much. Usually you want to be justified to one side looking off this way, or vice versa. You could be like this, but my lighting's set up for here. I'm here and look this way, look to the left or right of the camera. Never look inside the camera unless you were instructed to. Just always look this way. Now every single audition in general, mainly self-tapes though, are going to start off with a slate. Typically all they're going to ask is your name for sure, your agent, and maybe your age if you're under 18 years old, maybe your type, I don't know. Just follow the instructions that they give you, but usually it will just be your name, your age, and your agency, and sometimes your height, depending on if that's important or not. Now you're going to want to make sure that you are dressed properly for the role. Now you don't need to go all out, just like in every single audition. You don't want to walk into the room if your role is to be a hooker or a stripper. Don't walk in there looking like one. Dress to suggest, so maybe you'll wear a slightly lower cut shirt, maybe a v-neck, you know what I mean, something slightly nicer, maybe a nice red, but do not dress like a hooker and walk in. And the same thing for your self-tape. It's distracting. Dress to suggest, not to be in your audition. It will just distract. The next thing that you're going to want is a good reader. Now this will be very important. If you have an actor friend, then get them to read for you. It will really help you to actually play off as someone else that's an actor, and they'll give you everything you need. But if you don't, and you're like me, and all you have is a brother or sister or a mom and a dad, and they are trying too hard, and I mean, trust me, they're trying to help you, but they're almost always going to try to be over the top and do their lines in a way that will almost make you laugh and take you out of it. It's actually more distracting. Then just tell them to read in a monotone voice. A lot of the time that's what you're going to get in the room. Sometimes it's what you're going to get in an in-person audition. So it's fine. It'll be less distracting to the people watching the video, and honestly it's totally fine as long as you can deal with that. So finding a good reader is always a plus, but if not, just get the person to read it as boringly as possible. It's your acting they want to see, not your readers behind the camera, you know? Now, one of the best parts about self-taped auditions is that you get so many chances. You get so many practice takes, you get so many chances at getting the best take to send off to casting to make your best impression. When you're in the room in an audition, typically you only have one shot. But one thing I do want to make sure you guys don't do is you don't do any cuts in your videos. You do the scene, record it in one take, and you cut. The only times you cut would be after a slate and then between each scene. Do not do a scene all very dramatic, like as if you're the cinematographer. Don't do an audition like, Jimmy, what did you do? Why would you do that, Jimmy? Don't do something like that. So just trust me, do not make any cuts in your videos. One take per scene, and that's it. Now that you've had your entire self-tape recorded, now it's time to do the final nitty-gritty things. You need to edit it, make just nice fade in, fade out between each scenes, do something like Sony Vegas, even Windows Movie Maker or Final Cut. Follow all the instructions that they give you. This is the most important part. If they tell you to make the file name what they tell you to, do it. Don't name it ASDV blah 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 blah, because when you send it to them, when they download it, it's going to be called that. So if they say, hey, name it this, make sure you do it. It is very, very important. It makes their lives so much easier, and you don't want your video getting chucked out because you pissed them off by naming it wrong. You have to imagine how many submissions they're getting for these roles and how much time they're spending. If they get 100 and they're 2 minutes each, you know, it's 200 minutes. Now my final suggestion to you guys is prepare. Treat this as any other audition. You still need to have your lines down perfectly. It will really help you make the best audition possible. Remember, just because you have many more takes doesn't mean that you should leave it to the last second. You want to be one of the first people to submit it. Just imagine, you're the one casting and you have to watch 100 submissions. Are you going to be happier on the 10th one, or are you going to be happier on the 100th one? Of watching the exact same scene for the exact same character over and over again. You see what I mean? It doesn't sound too pleasant. This is like any other audition. Set a time for it and do it. Do not leave it to the last second, and please do not miss it. You wouldn't miss a regular audition. Do not miss self-tapes. They are very important, and they will help you get a lot of jobs that normally you would not be able to get. So guys, I hope this video helped you in some way. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and honestly, I will try to get back to every single one of you. If you guys have any suggestions for future videos, please just put them down below as well. Don't forget to subscribe or like the video if you liked it. I really appreciate it. Honestly, it really helps. And as always, guys, good luck on those auditions. Is that glitter? Oh my god, there's glitter in my hair.